Tarzan in 3D. Now, this neat little title is Region B, and as I record this, I have no idea if it's available otherwise. However, if you can manage to get your hands on it, I think it would be well worth your time. Though it isn't perfect, I feel the story does let you down towards the end, but it starts off amazing. We run, jump, slide, swim, and swing through it all, and never really see the same thing twice. It's very enveloping, very beautiful, and works well in 3D, which helps pull you, of course, deeper into this world. The animation team really put a lot of heart into this jungle. It never feels like it's just a backdrop. It feels lived in, like it's a living place. My only 3D complaint is, although they often allowed things to push outside of the screen, I never really felt the camera was interested in capturing stereo. Some of the clues to this disinterest are like the forest is usually presented with a straight horizon, which makes it all very symmetrical and suitable for perhaps a postcard, but it's rare to see anything at much of an angle. Take this moment like when a snake snaps at Tarzan, and it seems like a suitable 3D moment, but it's framed and edited without really any consideration at all to the stereo effect. The 3D tended to feel like an afterthought. Still, as I mentioned, it was all done beautifully, and I would be very surprised if this was not actually rendered in stereo, as the water is very much like Avatar, with reflections being slightly different in each eye, and the forest never felt like layers. The space felt very natural, and we are given an enjoyable amount of left-right eye separation. Now, I've actually read the first couple of Tarzan books years ago, and this does make use of some of the ideas from the first book. One detail I thought they improved on, actually, was in the book, Tarzan, despite being raised by animals, teaches himself to read after finding his father's old books. Now, in this cartoon, Tarzan enters the jungle when he is much older and past his first grammar lessons. So when it comes time to meet Jane, his trademark one-word sentences arise from a deep but uncertain memories, which I felt a lot more natural. They also push the time frame up to the present day. When this modern world does visit, we actually notice it in the CGI. The CGI that accompanies anything modern seems so plain and lacking in detail by comparison to the jungle scenes. For example, this Jeep inside the forest, the vehicle and its occupants feel like they came out of a completely different cartoon and intruded on our lush movie landscape. The stereo is still perfectly acceptable. However, to a degree, the stereo actually works against the look of the modern stuff in this movie, as they're so kind of, I don't know, I find them plain and cookie cutter, shall we say, that the stereo makes them feel like big blocky toys compared to the relative realism and detail in the growth that surrounds it. This was actually motion captured in a very similar way that Avatar was, which really shines in the depictions of the gorillas, and especially when they get to be fighting a bit. However, the humans, with the exception of Tarzan, they felt a bit stiff and puppet-like, not enough to detract from the story, which also seemed to be heavily derived from Avatar, which is a bit unfortunate, as I felt the areas it borrowed from, namely the big bad corporate antagonist, is the weakest part here. Now, like Avatar, much of this movie is what I like to call playground scenes, where we see the landscape explored and interacted with. However, unlike Avatar, much of this time is not used to uncover things that will be used in the resolution of the film. The conflict and its solution all largely comes out of kind of nowhere, with little to no throwback to anything we've seen Tarzan training for. What really hampers the story, though, is the antagonist's grand display of just unnecessary evil that doesn't seem to help with anything other than making it clear they're evil. In fact, it almost seems like the CEO of this corporation is having a schizophrenic episode and is imagining enemies that aren't actually there. Actually, it seems anyone in this movie that has a job is assumed to be evil. Oh well, we do get some entertaining gun barrels poking out of the screen, and the movie continues to give us some dazzling set pieces toward the end, including this worm that looks like it came straight out of a Peter Jackson Kong movie. Doesn't look like Jane's going to make it out of this one.